Hello, everybody. Glad to be back here with you again. I want to thank you for supporting my channel, for liking, commenting on, and sharing my videos, and of course, subscribing to my channel. I also want to thank all the people around the world who have sent me email asking me for some of the documents that I promise for free in other videos, asking me questions, wanting my opinion on situations that they're encountering. You might be surprised, but I respond to every email that I get, and usually within 24 hours, almost always within 24 hours. So it might surprise you, but I am here for you, and I would like to help you during this time especially, because I think this is a challenging time for salespeople, and I really want to tip my hat to you as a salesperson during a time of global challenge and difficulty. You are brave and courageous for being out there as a salesperson and doing the best you can to earn a living and bring revenue to your company or to your business and to seek to serve others. And that's what I hope to do here today for you with this video. This is a topic that's incredibly important because we want to make more sales. We want to improve our hit rate or our closing ratio or our conversion rate, whatever you want to call it. You want to make more money and make more sales with each person that is a qualified prospect that you come into contact with. Now, I do want to make one thing clear before I go into the content of this video. You need to have a conversation with a qualified prospect. A qualified prospect is someone that has desire, urgency, money, authority. They're a good fit for your business, right? You need to have that in place in order to benefit from this video. Because if you're talking to an unqualified prospect, then this video won't help you because you're going to lose almost every deal that you pursue with an unqualified prospect. I just don't recommend it at all. That's a big waste of your time. So let's just assume as you're watching this video that you're having qualified conversations. Okay, great. So if you're new to this channel and you just discovered this video and you don't know me, my name is Michael Neuendorff. I run the company Build and Balance in Northern California in the United States. And I have been coaching and training salespeople since 2008/2009. That's when I first started my business, but I really got into it in 2009. And ever since, I've been working with sales teams to help them to become better at what they do, to succeed faster. As a coach, a consultant, a trainer, as an assessment provider, that's really my goal, is to help people succeed faster. So that's the point of this video, is to help you succeed faster. Even if I can't work with you one-on-one or work with your team, I hope that by you watching this video, I will have a positive impact on your life and career. So what I want people to understand is that everyone should follow a simple sales process, right? That if you are working without a sales process, it's either because you're too new and haven't really established one, or you have been neglectful and not following a process because you're just kind of selling randomly each and every time according to the conversation that seems to be happening and not really getting serious about what you're doing, because once you start getting serious about what you're doing, then you follow a process. And by following a process, you will start to see that your fortunes will rise, that you will make more money by following a simple sales process. Okay, very important. So I'm going to share with you in this video a simple sales process. This isn't a process that you would follow to sell aircraft or to sell something very complicated like enterprise management software. That kind of complex long-term sale has a very involved sales process. But if you're selling something that you could sell, for example, in a single meeting or in a couple of meetings, this is a process that is simple to adopt, simple to apply, and simple to win with. And then you can go from there to do something a little more complicated. So the reality is that everyone should follow a process because their fortunes will rise. So sales process really is, it's just a series of steps that you follow. It's orchestrated steps that you follow to win with. And the difference that a sales process can make is that you're more confident, you're more clear when you have a conversation with a prospect. And that increases the confidence of the buyer. They want to know that you have a process and you're going to lead them through it. If you don't have a process and you don't clearly take charge of the sale, then the buyer is going to have less confidence in you and less assurance that they're working with someone who is experienced, who really understands what they're doing, and they may not buy largely for that reason because they don't feel comfortable buying from you. Follow a process. Bring that confidence to your buyer. That's how it helps you. So let me share with you a simple model that you can follow and win with. Whether you're new or you've been selling for a while, but you just haven't really been following a process, okay? So step one, you want to establish rapport. Rapport is a connection between you and the buyer. It stands for we like each other, we have an understanding, and we are open to doing business with each other because we're connecting, we're bonding at a certain level. So how do you establish rapport? Well, there's a few things that you can do to establish rapport. And the one that I teach the people that I work with, whether they're one-on-one or on a team, is DISC. And DISC is a personality typing system that helps you to understand certain personalities in the workplace and how they affect the buying process. And it also affects the selling process. So the people that find it easy are S types and I types. In the DISC world, we call them people. They are generally friendly, warm, accepting, and they may be somewhat cautious and reflective and not fast-paced, but they are accepting and warm. And they gravitate towards the sales process because sales is a game of human connection. Even if you're selling online, if you're missing that human connection, you're missing out on closing some sales. And right now, I know that more people are selling online via email, over the phone, not in person than usual. You know, more than usual, you're selling not in person. But still, your warmth and personality can come through your communications. So it's easier to establish rapport generally with S's and I's, a little harder with D's and C's. And those are the four main personality types. D's and C's tend to be more objective, logical, focused on a business outcome. They are fact-based in their decision making. And so you're going to find it a little bit harder to sell to them if you're an S or an I because you're used to connecting with people, establishing rapport. However, there are ways to establish rapport with a D and a C, unlike S's and I's. Be competent, take action, be prompt, be responsive, know your business, know your product, know your industry, know your competition. When you're able to answer questions confidently from your prospect, even if they're a D or a C, that will establish rapport with them because they like people who are competent, who know what they're doing and take action. Whereas S's and I's, they may like you just for the person that you are. Of course, they want to know that you're competent and you take action and that you represent a quality product. They want to know those things, but they also like you for who you are. Now, how can you improve in this area of establishing rapport? Well, a couple of resources that I recommend. The first one is the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That is a classic book that is still useful today. Still useful to help you to learn about connecting with people and establishing rapport. Something more modern that I would recommend that I mentioned earlier is the DISC Sales Profile Assessment. Now you need to take a DISC Sales Profile Assessment through a distributor like me. There are also distributors all around the world. And so you could look for a disc distributor in your local area who may be able to provide you an assessment in your native language. We have distributors in many of the countries around the world. So if you don't want to work with me, you can work with someone else. But I highly recommend that you do this because it doesn't cost a lot. If you are in a full-time job selling, it's a very modest investment to help you increase your sales, learn to understand the buyer, and find new ways to establish rapport methodically and assuredly at this very important step in the sales process. Because if you can get the process off on a good foot by establishing rapport, you're a step ahead in leading towards a successful conclusion. Okay, so that's step number one. Here's step number two. Discover needs. We have to be good at this. You have to be able to discover the needs of the buyer. Now, in some cases, you're going to already know before the conversation because the company, the individual that you're seeking to do business with may have reached out to you and expressed their needs in advance. That's a great situation. That doesn't mean that it's a slam dunk, that it's a done deal, but it's a great situation. Other times you're reaching out to somebody and trying to set up a meeting and talking about your solution and gaining interest from the other party to talk to you about what you sell because you've intrigued them. You've made them curious that maybe you hold the keys to solving their problems. And they have some. Everybody has problems all the time. We all have problems all the time. We're not always looking for solutions to all of our problems all the time, but we definitely have them. And we always have some problems that are at the top of the priority list. And if you're selling a solution that meets what's at the top of my priority list, we might be able to do some business together. But you're going to have to excel at asking me some good questions to help to establish the need. And you do so by asking more open-ended questions. An open-ended question is a question that gets me talking, such as, please tell me about the goals that you have for your department, for your company, for yourself, right? Sometimes we're selling things just to an individual to solve their personal problems. So tell me about some of the goals that you have. Tell me more about that. That's interesting. What is it that makes this goal so important? Why is this project at the top of your priority list? What have you tried to do to resolve this problem in the past? Those are examples of open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions just get a yes or no answer. Were you satisfied with your last vendor? Yes or no? A better question is, what did you like about the last vendor you worked with? Why are you no longer working with that vendor? What would you like to see your new vendor have in the way of strengths? What type of service agreement are you looking for after the purchase? How would you characterize the companies that you have long-term relationships with? What are the traits of those companies? Right? Those are all open-ended questions that draw out the buyer. And when you do that, then you can discover needs and listen more than talk. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth because we should be listening twice as much as we're talking. You've probably heard this before, but it's really important that you think about your sales conversations and determine if you're following the proper ratio. Are you talking twice as much as you're listening or vice versa? It's important to know. Now, a question that I often get is, well, how many needs should I uncover? Should I be satisfied with 1? 2? I've had some people say like high numbers like 6 or 7 or as many as there are. Well, I do have an answer for that. And I think that the ideal number is actually 3. I think that's the ideal number. And there is also a ratio within this ideal number that I want to explain to you on this slide. And that is that 2 of the 3 needs should be logical and one of them should be emotional. Now, I know what you're saying, and let me explain. You may have heard the phrase, people buy for emotional reasons and then back it up with facts or back it up with logic. I think that that's fairly true. Not in all cases and not with all personality types, but in a lot of situations, I think it's true. And I also believe that if you can get someone emotionally connected to your solution, they're more likely to act on it sooner rather than later. If all it makes is logical sense and emotionally they're not connected to that decision, they may put it off. They may decide to think about it some more, to explore it some more, check with other vendors. But if they're emotionally excited, they're charged up, they can see how this will personally benefit them. So an open-ended question here to establish emotional need is, what gets you excited about this possible solution? How would using this product, using this service, benefit you personally? And why is that important to you? If we can get at the emotional layer underneath the decision-making process, because even if someone is representing a company, representing a department, and making a buying decision, there may still be an emotional component associated with that decision. And if we can get at that, and then we can also uncover two logical reasons, you're in a really strong position. Because I feel like if you have three needs, two logical, one emotional, it's hard for that buyer to disagree with the next step, which we will get to in a moment. Whereas if you only have one need, it's easier. And I feel like this is where people make mistakes. People make mistakes and they lose the sale at this step. Why? They didn't listen well. They talked too much and they didn't listen well enough to establish good, strong needs. They decided to jump the gun and try to close the sale after one need was established. Why is that a mistake? Because if you're wrong, if that one need is not strong enough, you're probably going to lose the sale. A smarter, more capable salesperson is going to take that sale away from you by establishing more needs and more reasons to do business with them versus you. So don't get too excited when you uncover the first need. Just affirm it and ensure that that truly is a need. Probe it to see if there is an underlying emotional component, or is there a complementary need associated with this one, so that you can continue the conversation at this step and try to get that emotional need, right? And earlier I mentioned another problem, that sometimes the buyer will express their need before you even meet with them. They reached out to you. And sometimes salespeople make the mistake of thinking, well, the need's already established. All I have to do is just go in, confirm that need, and then propose a solution and close the sale. This also happens when people are referred, right? We love referrals, of course, and we should be seeking referrals. You should always seek referrals from satisfied customers. Even sometimes dissatisfied customers will refer to you because they know someone who could benefit from your product or service, even though it wasn't right for them. So curiously enough, you could get referrals even from people who've chosen not to buy or decided to move on because they just weren't happy with your product. Doesn't mean that it doesn't serve somebody they might know. The mistake that we can make with referrals, just like we can with people that reached out to us, is that we rush the process. Don't rush the process. Take your time. This is the crucial step that can help you to go in the right direction, or if you blow it, the wrong direction. So step number 3, create a proposal that gives them exactly what they want. exactly what they want. Because if you discovered 3 needs, now you know exactly what they want. See, if you only uncover 1 need, you're not really sure. You're not really sure that you've given them exactly what they want. You've given them partially what they want. But when you uncover 3, you're much more likely to do so. And the reality is, we all want to feel important. We want to have respect and appreciation for who we are as unique individuals. And so we like custom solutions that are created just for us. Makes us feel important. So you need to get creative by mixing up features, pricing, terms, delivery, dates, the kind of service you're going to follow up with. All of these can be mixed and matched to give them exactly what they want. Now, I do want you to be careful that you don't want to push something on someone that's not right for them. If you're not able to tailor a good proposal for your prospect, then maybe you don't have a good prospect. It does happen. We're talking to someone and we're establishing rapport, we're discovering needs, but at some point in the process, this small voice in our head says, this is not a good prospect for you. You're probably not going to be able to provide a really strong solution that will fully solve their problem and make them highly satisfied and a great testimonial, referral source, case study example. And that's where you probably want to step back and think about either pulling back, referring them to another company that would be a better fit for them, or telling them that what I'm selling is not the best solution, but there's another person in my company that represents another product or another service that would be better for you, because sometimes we work for large companies and we came in thinking that we were the right person, but we actually should have referred it to someone else in the company. There's a variety of different scenarios that can come out when we realize that we're not the best fit for this person. So just be clear about that, okay? And the other thing to be clear about, customize only to the degree that it doesn't create problems for your company, because there is the slippery slope of getting into this habit of customizing constantly for every customer and creating too much complexity for your company and then preventing the ability to grow rapidly. Companies can't grow rapidly when they're customizing for everybody. So be careful about that you should have some sense of ready-made solutions that work for people, and maybe what you're customizing is not the product, not the service, but just the terms, just the pricing. Maybe the follow-up service, right? There's certain aspects that you're customizing that aren't too difficult or too complex and don't slow down your company's ability to grow. So be careful of this. Now I want to share with you a magic technique. This magic technique can help you in this stage to close more sales. Now you need to listen very carefully to what the person is saying and listen for changes in intonation, changes in emotion, excitement level rising, because when that happens, you are discovering hot buttons. Hot buttons are the triggers that make me want to buy. If you can connect their hot buttons with features in your product and turn those into benefits. So for example, if I'm buying a car and one of my hot buttons is safety, because I'm buying the car for my teenage child who is just learning to drive, and well, they need a safe car because I'm scared that maybe they're not going to be the safest driver and they might make mistakes. They might get into an accident. And I want them to be safe if that happens. So that's a hot button for me. So if I was selling the car, I would make sure that the safety features of the car are translated into benefits for my buyer in ways that they can understand. If your son gets into an accident or gets into a situation where they are in danger, the auto braking system will help to prevent that accident from ever happening. If the accident does happen by chance, the fact that we have a very solid frame on this car and airbags all around will ensure that he's able to walk away and drive again because the car can be replaced and insurance will take care of that. But the safety features will ensure that he'll be okay. So that's touching one of my hot buttons in a way that makes me want to buy. Now, you do need to make sure that they connect with the buyer. So I would say, excellent. I'm glad to hear that because the safety features of this car are really important to me. So that's the magic technique. If you've done this well, then go to the next step because you're ready to get the sale, right? You're ready to get the sale because you've established rapport. You have discovered some strong needs, 2 logical, 1 emotional. You've translated some features into benefits in a way that connects emotionally with the buyer and makes them like what you're offering. You have a customized approach to the solution that works for me and makes me feel important. And this process should not be hard to follow. And it should not be hard to get the sale if you're talking to a qualified buyer. Remember what I told you at the beginning? They need to be qualified. But ask for the sale. Like, be proactive. Don't wait for the buyer to say, great, I want it. That will happen sometimes, but if it doesn't, ask for the sale. Say, I believe that I have a solution that is going to be just right for you. Can we do business together? Should we move forward? Would you like to buy this? And ask for it. Now, sometimes they're not going to buy and you may need to follow up a few times. That's okay. Add value along the way. Give new information that would be helpful, provide case studies that might be helpful, offer testimonials, references if that would be helpful. Do whatever you can to keep them interested and learning while they're considering. Learning about you, learning about the product or service they're considering, and realizing what a giving person you are, what a great person you would be to do business with. Now, if they ultimately don't buy, don't worry, because there are people who don't buy today who may buy in 3 months, 6 months. Just agree that it would be okay if you follow up with them every once in a while. And if you have been a pleasant person to do business with throughout this process and you've come in with a heart to serve them, then generally they will agree that it's fine for you to follow up with them at times down the road. So let's recap here. You will hit the bullseye by following these steps diligently. Now just understand that you're not going to win every time. I mean, it just doesn't happen. We never hit the target 100% of the time. But if you follow this process, you discover strong needs, you will win more often than you lose. And you won't lose sales in that crucial second step, that pivotal second step that can accelerate progress towards the win. Now, what if you want help? Well, there's a couple ways you can get help. If you're in North America, I do offer my services to individuals and companies in North America for one-on-one coaching or group work for teams. So you can reach out to me at this email address if you are in North America and you would like help. Now, if you're outside of North America, I hope that I have helped you. And what I can do to help you too is if you want to get my opinion on questions that you've come up with to discover needs, or you have questions around the sales process, post them in the comments of this video, or you can email me too. And the way that you can help me is to please like this video, please comment on it with your questions, with your praise and support, and share my videos. Because by doing that, that lets YouTube know that this has been a helpful video for you, this is a good channel, and they will continue to share it with other people that are in your unique situation. If this is the first video you've watched on this channel, please go back and watch other videos. I have lots and lots of videos on this channel to help people in sales, and also people that run businesses, people that would like to improve their communication abilities. And so I have lots and lots of helpful videos on this channel. Please watch the other ones. I thank you for watching this video, and I wish you the best of luck.